The official record states that the investigation into Tom Orr's disappearance began with a routine safety inspection. That is the first lie. It began with an anomaly, a whisper in the bedrock of the Yak Valley. It began with a locked door. Not a metaphor, but an actual, heavy-gauge steel hatch, crudely welded beneath the floorboards of the cabin, owned by Tom Orr, the mountain trapper, who by 2025 had become an unwilling symbol of a simpler life. He was supposed to be retired, fading quietly into the Montana wilderness he knew better than his own reflection. But in October 2025, a local inspection team, dispatched after an unusually strong seismic reading, an anomaly in the soil resonance found the hatch. The entry was marked and sealed, not with a standard hazard tag, but with a label indicating federal classification. Crucially, the Federal Records Department had no corresponding file for its existence. It was a secret born outside the system. Harland Pike, the state safety officer whose mandate was structural stability, described the preliminary findings as mechanical interference. They suspected old, forgotten mining debris from the 1,940 seconds of copper boom. What they uncovered instead, after cutting through the aged wood, was a short corridor, roughly 6 feet across. It was not concrete or timber, but lined with interlocking panels of a synthetic material, what Pike's junior officer later called glass that sweated. The corridor was sealed by thick, hardened wax. No corporate logos, no military insignia. The wax seals were melted inward, as if heat had been applied from the earth below, suggesting the pressure was contained, not applied. Pike's initial report, dated the 14th of October 2025, emphasized one detail above all others. It began with a locked door. That single, chilling sentence opened every subsequent page. The repetition was not poetic, it was procedural. Each page was stamped and refiled, as if the bureaucracy was trying to remind the reader that the act of discovery itself was the violation. Within 48 hours, before the local team could fully breach the secondary seal, the federal mandate arrived. The local team was ordered to stop. Their notes, their personal logbooks, and raw data drives were confiscated. The silence was immediate and absolute. Yet, fragments survived, the kind that slipped between scanners and email inboxes, digital dust. One email, verified by its digital trail through the county office archives, mentions light movement under the cabin floor. This phrase was later redacted from every official summary, leaving a stark, black box where the most critical piece of evidence had been. By then, Tom Orr had vanished. The last known photograph, dated late September 2025, shows him standing beside his pickup, his hands deep in his pockets, his expression unreadable. The horizon behind him was already turning a severe, threatening gray. Some called it folklore, others whispered of biological experiments older than his reality show, older even than the cabin itself. But as the file officially and mysteriously reopened this autumn, what re-emerged wasn't myth, it was documentation of a cover-up. The question waiting at the top of every page, underlined in archival red, was simple. What was sealed beneath the life he built, and who sealed it first? This question becomes the thread that pulls us through the chaos. Every conspiracy begins with names. In the Yak Valley inspection file, 3 names form the initial triangle of doubt. Harland Pike, the state safety officer, driven by procedure. Dr. Aaron Madsen, the geological consultant, driven by scientific truth. And Tom Orr, listed not as owner, but as historic occupant. Pike's field notes, logged on the 14th of October 2025, 11:42 a.m., recorded the first signature of the anomaly, a faint electrical hum under the cabin's northern foundation, a low, persistent vibration that registered just above the ambient noise floor. Dr. Madsen's advanced ground-penetrating radar scans, logged just 30 minutes later, contradicted him absolutely. She logged no measurable current. That contradiction became the first spark of the cover-up. Two seasoned professionals, same site, same equipment, two radically different signals. One saw power, the other saw silence. What makes the anomaly matter most is its location. The cabin sits on the last sliver of state land, bordering a vast tract of private wilderness, a site once leased for copper extraction in the 1,940 seconds. Those tunnels collapsed decades ago, written off and forgotten. The significance: the new resonance signature registered by Pike matched an archived mining schematic within a 2% margin of error. The anomaly was where the map said a tunnel should have been, but geological records claimed it was solid rock. When Dr. Madsen reluctantly cut through the outermost wax seal, the key moment of no return, she reportedly whispered a single phrase, recorded by Pike's body camera microphone. Light met what shouldn't exist. Behind the seal, layers of translucent residue clung to the wood like candle drips in reverse. Madsen's subsequent report described the environment. The air was dry, yet pulsing, like something waiting. Locals remember Tom Orr as a craftsman, meticulous and practical. But his supply runs in 2025 had grown erratic. Long absences and unusual deliveries marked equipment. One witness recalls him asking a chilling, philosophical question at the local trading post. "Does the wilderness remember what we bury?" This quote appears in an unsigned log fragment recovered from his cabin desk, later authenticated by handwriting comparison. There is no hard evidence Tom built the chamber, but the entire file suggests he knew of it and potentially protected it. Why would a man who lived by simplicity and survival guard such complexity, such an expense of secrecy? That question sits unresolved. But in every version of the report, official or redacted, his name sits closest to the origin point of the signal. Before the investigation went dark, Pike underlined one field line twice in his final summary. Subject demonstrates foreknowledge. If Tom Orr wasn't surprised by the sealed chamber, who was the discovery really meant for? This deliberate seeding of doubt ensures the emotional hook is maintained by questioning the central figure's moral allegiance. Before the discovery, before the sealed hatch, there was only routine, an aging man preparing his historic cabin for another Montana winter. The official, publicly accessible timeline begins on the 29th of September 2025, with the Yak Valley District logging a routine renewal inspection. The form notes, owner cooperative, site stable, normalcy. Then, 3 weeks later, the file splits. An unregistered sub-entry appears. Request for structural re-evaluation. Reason unspecified. No signature, no author. The state's copy shows the request as cancelled. But a second version recovered from a local archive's quarantine drive carries a digital timestamp, identical to the exact moment federal inspectors landed in Bozeman, hundreds of miles away. This wasn't coincidence, it was coordination. The question becomes, who executed the cancellation and who executed the inspection? He knew before they did. This phrase echoed across witness interviews. Neighbors recalled Tom's strange, almost unnerving calm that week. One described him abruptly closing his workshop, locking drawers he usually left open, and driving west without headlights. Another mentions hearing a sound like metal striking earth the night before the inspection team arrived, the sound of something being hastily secured. When Pike and Madsen reached the cabin on October 12, Orr was already absent. The door was bolted from the inside, a security contradiction noted in Pike's first field summary. Inside, the cabin smelled of aged leather and something faintly metallic, sterile. They found wax residue on the floorboards, matching the seals later photographed near the hatch. Those samples catalogued but never published show traces of lanolin, silver nitrate, and human skin cells from at least 2 different donors. This detail confirms the biological stakes and the involvement of at least one other unknown party. The public case stalled quickly, framed by the press as a clerical ghost.